good morning, or in Diego's case, good afternoon. This is Diego Barbosa-Vásquez. He is going to be the guest conductor on Canciones para ti, or Songs for You, on November 1st with the Greeley Philharmonic Orchestra. Diego is a world-renowned conductor from Colombia, and we're very excited to have him collaborate with us on this concert. So today we're just going to talk a little bit about what is this concert about? Why is it so important to not just the Greeley community, but society as a whole? And what are some of the exciting pieces that we are sharing with you for you on this concert? Diego, can you start by telling us a little bit about why you feel this collaboration is so important, so incredible?
Well, first of all, hello, Micayla, and hello to everyone that is seeing us. A pleasure to see you or be with you through our online channels. This collaboration for me is really, really important in many ways because in general, what you are gonna see is not just another concert in a season or another season. What you are gonna see is a cultural declaration that our heritage belongs to the main stage, that our cultures, our values, and stories deserve to be broadcasted by very high-level performing arts experiences, and that orchestras should serve the communities, not the other way around. Therefore, what you are going to see in this concert is really, really the core of what I've been working all of my life, being sure that we develop a strong and sustainable relationships between all of the stakeholders of performing arts, and meaning that communities feel welcome, empowered, and represented in our full experiences. Therefore, for me, since the beginning has been an amazing thing, and I'm sure it's going to be an amazing concert for all of us to enjoy.
So we took kind of a unique approach to forming the program for this concert and selecting the repertoire. We collaborated with some of the leaders in our community to choose these pieces. They presented what is significant for them and for their families, for culture as they experience it. Can you tell us a little bit about how it felt for you to be part of this experience?
Yeah, well, the experience has been amazing. As I was talking before, this cultural declaration element in which we've been able to arrive is not by chance. It's about very well taken steps on how orchestras should do in their normal thing. This is not only about Latin American heritage in this case. This one is for Latin America, but this type of ways of doing programming and ways of serving the community is based on research, the way that should be done. Therefore, in this case, we start, let's say, with the basic, how to really be sure orchestras serve the communities. Well, first of all, understanding that our role as artists or our role as performing arts organizations is not to define what audiences needs or what audience wants. The communities are the ones that has to tell us what they want and what they need. How we did that specifically with this concert, where you were telling, we invite communities to be part of the programming decision and the programming making. I remember our first conversation with them, just helping them to be empowered to share what they consider is important for the culture, what they consider is important for the city, which kind of musics they consider valuable to listen, was huge, because that's precisely what we as organization needs, community telling to us what they want. Now, then starts the second element. One thing is wanting something, and another is how to make it real. That's when we start working. Davis was a very, very good ally. Davis, your from your orchestra, helping us to start deciding, okay, we had a 40 pieces list of what the community wants. Many of them were incoherent with a topic, or others were totally outside our scope. Some of them had some arrangements, others not. How we are gonna like kind of start selecting and try to narrow down to a coherent experience. That's a work that, of course, has to be done by the experts. That cannot be done by the community. That's our real work as orchestras, how we can make that. And during this process, was really fun to work with all of you and seeing your support, taking this seriously enough to know that this is not a popular pop concert in which we just do whatever just to get some tickets and get some money to fund the full season. No, this was taken as a serious concert and part of the main season. And that way allow us to decide that, for instance, there were arrangements that were not enough to actually broadcast the cultures, the values, and the stories, and the aesthetics that we want in our concert. Therefore, we move from looking for arrangements to actually commission arrangements. And in this case, my company that did Sinfónica Arrangement Services helped a little bit with that. We developed the arrangements. And in that process, also the community was very keen because we have another meeting telling us, your second proposal looks nice, but we don't want this. We want to continue going to a different path, and being so flexible to actually define the last version of the concert. And all of this is valuable because of the main thing that we are saying. Orchestras should serve the communities. And only when communities are empowered to say us, look, you are the experts, you have been working for 3 months to get a concert done, but this is not still what we want. We want these changes. And as an experts being enough, decided to serve the community to say, okay, we can change some things. This is what we should do. And that's why for me, this concert is so amazing, because it's actually serving the community. That is what we need to do as organizations.
Thank you. So you mentioned the scope of the project, which for my understanding is very close to the theme of what the concert is. So it's no accident that our concert is on Dia de los Muertos, and that kind of framed what the theme of the concert is. So you mentioned how some of the repertoire that our group suggested fell outside of that theme, and that it was kind of up to you as the expert, with some help from Davis, our orchestra librarian, to find which of the pieces really fit into what the final program would be. Can you elaborate on what the story behind the concert is? The first half being more about life and the second half being about remembrance of the dead, that kind of idea.
Yes, the element was in our conversations with the community. We were trying to define which thematic element we are gonna broadcast as the main element, and try to connect all of the pieces with that, as you were saying. And because it's November 1st, that is in Mexican culture, Dia de los Muertos, the Day of Death, that is a very important cultural date for them. We started to kind of pick up pieces that were related in a way with death. However, we wanted to also be sure that the concert doesn't become only about death, but also about contrasting that with life and being sure that we as Latinos, we are happy people. That's our nature. Therefore, how we see death and at the same time with your life. Therefore, that way we separate like kind of the two sections of the concert. And in that, selecting the pieces, of course, there was a huge list, but was an amazing list because all of the pieces, probably that didn't end up being in the concert, were actually very connected what they consider is important for their culture, or songs that someone sung for them when a close family member died, or songs that when they sing that they remember their childhood and certain kind of activities in their daily life. For actually we're connected, but just we have to pick some of them. Therefore, we are not saying this concert is the final uh, ethnomusicological decision about what should be. It's just an experience that we have to craft. In this sense, for instance, we started with Camille Saint-Saëns' Danza Macabra. That, of course, is not Latin American, it's a French piece. However, the connection of this piece with the full community is strong because this piece was part of what they were listening as kids. And they associate this kind of piece to the full topic about death and the full topic about uh, death or things that are not in our normal realities. Because the death or Dia de los Muertos talks about, I'm not sure if the correct word is realities, but things that don't happen in the usual moment of our lives. You supposedly are connected with your ancestors, that they are dead. Therefore, how this kind of mindset actually works with Camille Saint-Saëns. Then we move to things that are totally traditional as La Bruja and La Llorona, that are pieces that are core of the Mexican folklore. And then we move to El Triste, is not as late in folk as early in folklore of Mexican culture, but it's actually part of the culture because it's the current culture, and how El Triste is many times used to precisely help people with this type of losses of a close person. And then we move to Montilla. Montilla is a piece that is actually a Venezuelan piece, but talks about what happened after death and how people can be remembered for the great things they did in their life and a more triumphant thing. And then we enter into other elements of Latin American music as improvisation in an orchestra. You are going to see an orchestra doing improvisation live in a very different styles. And that way we close like the first part. The second part is about what happened after that. We keep the same topic, but moving towards life. And in that sense, we start with Un Rinconcito en el Cielo. That is a very important piece for the community, the Greeley community. They actually wanted a lot. We are happy we are able to do it. As it is connected with many times they seen those type of things when someone died, therefore it's really important. Then we move to Amor Eterno. Amor Eterno, of course, a piece that Rocío Dúrcal made famous and is from Juan Gabriel, therefore many people knows about it, very important too. Then we move to a very special one, turning into the live thing that is La Vida es un Carnaval from Celia Cruz. We are celebrating this year the 100th anniversary of her when she was born, and it's a very important artist from the full Latin American culture that talks about that yeah, there is death, there is craziness in our world, there is happening so many things, but we have to enjoy life, and we want to end the concert in that sense. The arrangements is really amazing. It has two singers, it has even a fugue in salsa style that you are going to experience. It's very unique. We end the concert with Colombia Terra Querida, in which we are gonna interact with the audience. You are gonna be part of the music making, of the performing arts experience. And yeah, that's the concert that we are trying to have and experience all of that with you.
Thank you. What about this concert do you think is the most exciting? Is it a certain piece on the program? Is it individuals that we're collaborating with? Is it the fact that the orchestra will improvise, and orchestras very rarely do that? Maybe soloists do, but not an orchestra as a whole.
I guess the most amazing element that you're going to experience in this concert is the cultural authenticity that is our must in this concert. This is important not only even as Latin Americans. This is important for the full orchestras and in general for everyone. You don't play Puccini in the same way that you play Mozart. You don't play Beethoven in the same way that you play Shostakovich. You don't play Amor Eterno in the same way that you play Llorona. You don't play La Bruja in the same way that you are going to play La Vida es un Carnaval. Every single piece has been built from the arrangements up to what we are going to do with the orchestra to be sure it's really, really authentic. And what I mean is you are going to experience a very wide range of styles and emotions during that concert, from going for very, very ethereal and very magic type of sounds that you are going to experience in La Bruja, for instance, because La Bruja is a folkloric character and very important in the Mexican culture, but has some elements of we can track it even to I don't know, to indigenous type of thinking or magic type of thinking. Well, that depends on your approach, but it's magic in a way. Going towards things like La Vida es un Carnaval, that is just for fun, and you are gonna see a salsa experience, and you are gonna see the orchestra changing from different styles of music making. That's for me is the most amazing part. And also the experience of not only seeing an orchestra improvising that is very unique, is very, very unique because as you say, usually soloists do that. Now how to do a full orchestra that is usually, let's say, Eurocentric training, how you are going to improvise not only salsa, you are going to improvise in golpe tocuyano and you are going to improvise in cumbia for 3 types of improvisation for how you do that, but also how the community could be part of that and how you are not going to be only passive receivers of the music, but as Latin Americans, real active participants of the full music making. That's so unique. That's why this concert is going to be so fun. And that's why we are going to work a lot with the orchestra and with the soloists to make that a really amazing experience for all of the people.
Thank you for sharing about why you're so excited for this concert. I know I am, and I really hope that the Greeley community is too. Thank you.